Everybody, welcome to Pro NoCoders Office Hours, episode 294. I'm Cameron. I'm your host. I am here with Zdinko, Adam, John, Suchitra, and of course, the lovely Tanya. Before we get started, if it's your first time tuning in, we do this office hours 6 times per week where we invite our members onto our Zoom. They ask us questions, give us bug requests, feature requests, or not bug requests, but mention bugs, give us feature requests, so on and so forth. Well, we can't promise answers, but we do promise you at least will not suffer alone. And we get it right most of the time. So let's go ahead and get started. Tanya, you were here. I'm sure you know the priority of individuals. Who should we start with first?
John was here first.
John, the legend himself. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, right. I'm good, thank you.
Sweet. What are we doing for you today?
So this might be a bit involved. So to give others time, then we can sort of do this in a few parts if you want. But if I share my screen with you, this is to do with setting up Stripe. So I've got Stripe at the back end, as in the Stripe end setup, and I've got some parts of it working, but I'm struggling with one aspect. So there's a screen here. I select what plan I want to be on, and just for clarity, free is not something I've got set up as a plan in Stripe. I don't think it really matters, but small, medium, and large are plans you'd pay for. If I select small, it says it's $25 a month, medium, 35, large, blah, blah. And before anyone comments on my crap UI, it's really just to get it going rather than this is what I necessarily want. And I'll hit continue to payment. It will take me through to Stripe, blah, 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 blah. So in the back end, what I have, and this is where I think I need to improve this a bit. So I've got, I don't worry about the keys because these are my test keys. So I'm not too worried. I've got, okay, so when button continue to payment is clicked, subscribe them to this price. And this would be the price for the small plan. Now, there's two aspects to this. I presume that I don't need to do it this way, where I'm basically saying small, medium, large is each step. I assume I should be able to do it in Awana and say, give me, based on the option they selected in that dropdown, give me the relevant price name, plan name, and use that. I don't need to do this and have 3 steps. So that's perhaps the first part. And in terms of the way the data is set up, and Tonya will be familiar with this because she helped me with most of this, is if I go into here and have a look at in here, then where is it? Sorry, option sets. So the Plan OS has this free, small, medium, and large, and that's what I am referencing here. So that's the source of this drop down. And then I have, under the attributes, I've got the Stripe price ID.
Yep.
So for small, that's the price ID. For medium, that's the price ID, blah, 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 blah. So I assume what I should be able to do is in the workflow say, okay, based on what they've selected, give me the relevant price ID from that option set.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So you should be able to, inside, focusing on the first one here, inside the Stripe plane name, you should be able to select that values dropdown and then select its attribute. So typically it would be like display, right? For small, medium, or large, that's the text that's displayed. So we just say that input values, whichever dropdown that is.
Yeah, good question.
Dropdown plan choice, I think it is.
All right, you've got a good memory. Yep, well done. Okay, value, yeah.
Cool, and then the Stripe price ID.
Yeah, okay, so that should match that, and then so I can get rid of this.
That's right,
okay. Yeah, and that should pass that along. So, okay, so let me get rid of these others so I don't confuse myself. And then the next step then is based on step 1, I guess. It's then I need to make changes to the user that has, just because they will have just gone through registration. So they've become a user in the database. And I wanted to start adding things. So what I was trying to do then is say, okay, so the last payment made is current period, starting date, ending date. subscription status, etc., etc. But this one I was struggling with, which was fundamentally, I need to set to the user which plan they have just signed up to.
Yeah, I think something really similar to what we had just done. So
Okay.
if you go back to step one, actually, and you copy that dynamic text, or that dynamic expression, I should say,
Yeah,
and then we paste that there. So we're going to be changing the display. So instead of taking this price ID, we'll just click on that and change it to display.
So I think subscription in this case is actually a database, like a data table reference to your subscription plan. That's why it's not resolving. So it's turning red. It's because it's expecting a subscription plan, not a subscription ID or option set. So you can make maybe change the name of that field to subscription plan, and then create another field that, well, you should be saving the subscription option to the subscription plan that you're creating for the user. So that's the missing piece here, is you need to create a new subscription plan for the user. So go ahead and click to add an action. And then make a new thing, create a new thing.
Right.
And it'll be subscription plan.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And then add all fields. Yep.
Ah, right. Okay.
And so here's where you're going to store the user. And then after this one, you have to make changes to the user. And so switch the order of step 3 and step 2.
Got you. Okay.
Yep.
That makes more sense.
Yep.
Cool. Right. Okay. I can finish that off myself. That's fine. So thank you for that. We can move on to someone else. That's cool. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Amazing. Sweet. All right. Who is next?
Adam and Zdenko arrived at the exact same time, so I'm not sure.
I did see Zdenko in here a little bit before me, so it's okay if he goes first.
All right. You were both in the waiting room at the same time. Zdenko, would you like to go?
Sure. Should I share my screen, Cameron?
Yep.
Okay.
Are we continuing from last night?
Well, no, I did figure out one part of last night, so I'm trying to put maybe some conditions and stuff and see if that works over the weekend. If not, I think we'll get back to it.
Sure.
On Monday, because I was able to resolve one part of it when I removed the truck. So I actually took the truck out of the list, and then even though the workflow does run, the truck is not there to change anything. So this part works, but adding the truck will be a problem, but I'm going to look at it later. And part of this was I wanted to see if when this group in the pop-up changes, what is it possible to if anything in this group changes, is it possible to have the user update this group before they close the dispatch? I know we can do, or do we have to go by every input, if any input of the changes? Could we go simply to, for example, to this group, when this group pop-up dispatch detail changes, put a condition on it that, for example, let's say the update dispatch button becomes visible or something like that. I want them to update without them being able to leave or close the dispatch once they've changed any one of these values. So
you want them to force update, basically.
Right, yeah. But there are too many values. Like, do we have to go individually with every input, or would we be able to put it on this group which contains all of the inputs?
So I'm thinking So using a workflow, you could do a do when true. I mean, I guess there's a couple different ways to go about it, but using a custom state to sort of track if things have been changed. So in the event that a value is changed, whether that's any of the drop downs, you could set a custom state on the page where this button is associated with this custom state. So the custom or that button update dispatch will only display if the custom state is visible. But that requires a series of workflows where if assign to's value changes, then assign a state to the page. If materials value or input value changes, then assign a state to the page, so on and so forth. And so you can do that in your workflow. If you go to workflow, and we'll click here to add a new event, and then we'll go to elements. You should be able to see there, it's cut off on my, there you go, yeah. Where a input value is changed.
Right.
So the only thing that I'm thinking here, though, unfortunately, it's one element at a time. So you'd have to create probably a new folder where you have a bunch of these when an input value is changed.
Yeah, so we still need to do every input at every time. Is that right? Instead of being able to do a group at the same time. And one, I mean, having a group instead of every element in that group. We have to reference every element in that group. That was my question, actually. This way we're, I mean, when an input value change, but we have to reference every element in that group, correct? Yeah, so there is no way then to reference the group itself, which contains all of the elements.
No.
No way, yeah, right. Okay.
I agree. It seems like you should be able to do that, but no, you have to update it individually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was my question. I just thought it would be a lot faster or probably a lot more efficient. In fact, instead of doing every element through this workflow here. Yeah. Yeah, I looked at this in workflow before, and we've used it with the drop-down changes. But that references each individual element. So each individual element would have to be assigned, I guess, when it changes the value. The value, if the data, the value of the data in the group pop-up dispatch, we don't have that action to, if anything, if any of the elements in the group change, then we don't have that workflow, right? Correct?
No, we don't.
Yeah, right, okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's that for me for now. Let me go back and try to figure out something else, I guess.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's sort of a solution. Yeah, not the solution you're looking for, but that's the way you're going to probably have to approach it.
Yeah, this was the solution I came up with, but then I thought that we might be able to, that I wasn't aware of. Yeah, all right. Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, I also wanted to, since Tanya is there, last night I didn't have time to ask her. Maybe on Monday I might be able to, I'm looking at scheduling an hour with Tanya probably to go through this process that we talked about last night, Tanya. And
sure, no problem.
Yeah, so what? How do we go about it? Do you have time on Monday, or how is that?
I'll send you a message and we'll coordinate.
Sure. Yeah, send me an email and then we can coordinate. Maybe we can take an hour and go through it, because I think that maybe even some database changes need to be made. But at least we'll be able to take a closer look at it and then decide on further actions, actually, instead of me patching it up this way, I think.
That makes sense to me.
Let's do that, Tanya, and then maybe next week we can do this, and I'll try to figure something out in the meantime by patching it up.
Sure. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
All right. Thanks, Tanya.
Mhm.
Thanks, guys. That's it.
Yeah.
From me. Yeah.
All righty. Well, then I believe, Adam, you are up next, and then we'll tackle Suchithra.
Hi, so I am just following up on the upload care.
Sure. Were you able to find any information about, well, exactly what you're looking for, uploading or at least opening up that and having the crop feature there?
You and I didn't we like kind of solve that towards the end of the last session? Because we
Well,
found
yeah,
out
we have the ability to crop, but I know that you said specifically that you want it to, when you click that button and you upload it, it goes automatically to the crop, and that you don't want to have to click the crop.
oh, no, I did not.
Okay, yeah, unfortunately, reporting back to you the same, I did not find any information about that either. However, one of the things that we can do is, of course, message them and say, hey, this is a pretty neat feature. Is there any way to implement it? And hopefully they'd give us a response. But I didn't see anything on the documentation about automatically opening it to when you, or automatically popping up the crop when you upload a file.
Okay.
That's the only unfortunate part. But, oh yeah.
No, just you can continue.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, we're here. What are we helping you with apart from that?
Well, we were also looking at potentially cropping video, yeah?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can take a look at Upload Care's video. So Upload Care video processing. Oh, right. How does this work? So this is going to be, it looks like, the endpoint that we are sending them to. This is going to be a bit interesting because it looks like it's all on the API. Okay. Once it's uploaded, they extract the metadata. Can be retrieved through this. Now, getting it to actually show on the widget. This does not look like a widget would be included. This looks like it is purely on the back end, where we can generate the video thumbnails, of course. So perhaps just have a button that allows us to upload the file and then output video processing.
Well, I mean, I'd want people to be able to kind of crop it the way that they want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So under widget options, does it give us anything for video? Video preferred mount types, enable video recording. And then we'll go down here. Let's see, video preferred. That's just saying like we're only specifying MP4s or so on and so forth. That's for video recording. I don't think there's anything for, let's see. A bunch of image stuff. Let's go to what we have here at Upload Care and let's see what it provides us.
And side note, I did find a resize portion. So I think that there is a way to access it, but let's do one thing at a time. And yeah, basically every single CDN, when something is uploaded, there's an original link, there's an optimized link, a resize link, and a smart crop. I'm assuming that what we need to access is the resize link for photos.
I need to go to the dashboard. So I don't know if there is a way for me, because I'm on a free account, to actually change what I allow. Because it says as I try to upload this video that this type is not allowed. And you have a little bit more experience with this. Is this one of the things that they need you to be on a paid plan for?
They do have particular features where honestly it just stopped working for me at one point, and when I paid, a bunch of things opened up again. So I would assume so.
Only images. Oh, verify account. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Well, do you have an account that we can plug in all this stuff into that you currently pay for to see what happens when we do upload a video?
Sure. How do I send you the credentials?
Go ahead and do it in Slack.
Okay, and do you want the login for it, or do you want the API keys?
I will need your public key, that should be all.
Okay.
Let me yeah, because I just have to put your public key right here. I'll turn off the camera so nobody sees, and then I'll share the screen again.
Okay, cool. Trying to find you in. Okay. Just sent it in the Slack.
Okie dokie. Secured and implemented. Go ahead and see if this does anything fancy for us. Yeah, I do have a cheeseball.mp4. So it does look like we are allowed to look at it, right? We're not allowed to crop this here. So we can add that file. The thing is it doesn't give us the thumbnail. So let's see, this image could not be generated because it's not an image. Okay, so it does allow us to upload. But now at this point, now we need to process it. Okay. And so we're going to point it.
If this is going to be something that we have to do as far as like put more work into the video aspect of it, I think it's okay if we continue this next week, because this is just like the extra part, right, in video cropping. What is more important, I think, is just making sure that the photo gets cropped just so one thing is finished completely, right? So we don't have multiple things up in the air. So can we shift gears? Do you mind just because this looks like we're gonna have to put some time in, right?
Yeah, realistically, we would have to.
So because we found that, like, if you look at all of the JPEGs and stuff, there is a resize tab on access on CDN. So if there's any way to find that in the API, or sorry, like the calls, I think that would be more priority just to finish something.
Sure. So the resize being different from the crop, is that right?
Yep. So if you notice, here, let me look at what you're looking at. So go to the upload care.
Gotcha.
API key, maybe not keys, but just go to the dashboard.
Oh, cool. We are here. Where do I go now?
Files.
Bang.
All right. So you see resize. Everything is a resize. I know we can access that somehow. So I'm trying to figure out how we can replace the original link with the resize link instead, you know?
Okay. So it looks like to me what we would end up doing is probably when we're displaying this image. So let's say this image here. That's what it looked like. Now, before we proceed any further, we are saving it as this. That's when we crop it and we preview. Okay, let's try this out. So adding the resize element, it does look like that did adjust it. What we are going to do is I'm going to have this here. I'm going to bring this down, I guess. It's a stack them on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the resize. This is not the resize. Let's see if there's any difference here.
Okay.
Not resize, resize. So this is slightly smaller, just a hair, whereas this is a little bigger. And unfortunately, at least I think that's the issue. Okay.
Well, you know, like what I'm trying to get at here is what I want people to be able to do, because you just said that people can crop, but they can't save that to the database, is what you're saying?
in terms of the actual crop, so no, they should be able to. This is what we're saving to the database, and it does have the crop of 133, and then it shows the actual, like, because basically everything that we're modifying is going to be appended to the URL. The image itself really isn't being modified. It's the way that we're returning this data through the URL. That's how upload care works. So everything is
Right.
URL based.
Okay, so if that, how about, okay, you mentioned that we need to talk to Tanya to potentially get me credentials for this so I can explore it, play with it, and start implementing it in my app. Tanya, is that okay with you if I get credentials for this just to poke around on this page?
Oh, in the May sandbox? Yep, I think we'd have to switch it out. I think I maybe gave it, I think it was John, actually. I gave John access to it, so we can switch it out because we can only add one at a time, but I'll do that in the back end.
Yeah, it was me. Yeah.
John, are you done using it?
Yeah.
All right,
Oh, he
thank
needed
you.
it because he was filling in for me on Wednesday, so.
Got it.
Not many questions got answered that day, has to be said.
It happens. It happens.
Not a problem.
So let's go ahead and do something. We're going to look inside. So we cropped the first. Let's just go ahead and add this resize to the second image.
Okay. Because what I understood at the beginning of our conversation on upload care today, Cameron, was that you mentioned that so we can crop in the from the visual aspect, but we can't necessarily save that aspect to the database so people continue getting the image that they cropped, like the results of the image that they cropped. Am I misunderstanding that? Because if I am, it looks like you can.
Well, yeah, you'll always be able to get the image. So if they crop it, in this case, you'll absolutely be able to get that image. Because again, it's stored in the database with that particular URL parameter. So yeah, no, it's a pretty smooth process.
Actually, you know what? I just realized yesterday during no code school that something has changed with Bubbles settings, and now I can make the sandboxes viewable. So here, I think everybody should be able to go in and see the sandbox now.
Cool. Thank you so much. Let me try.
Here to put the resize. The resize should. Smart resize dimensions. It does it automatically. Cropping dimensions. Can we do a crop and resize, or is that the reason why? Maybe we can do a whole bunch in terms of image modification here. That's very true. Resize 1 or 2 dimensions. Resizing image with width and height. UID resize 320, 340. That is it. I have to resize 50 by 50. Well, it looks like it appears that all of these images are the same, despite the fact we're resizing it. Preview. Why is that crop? Seems like it's actually broken it. It said, no, we're not doing this. So let's choose a new file. We will go with, man, I have so many, but I don't know which one. This was the beginning of a Christmas present. I had an artist do it for me. It's pretty awful, but we are going to save this file. In fact, we'll make sure that, so it's automatically cropping it. What we are going to do, so it is this one, it's the most recent. And we are going to resize this. This should be a square at 240 by 240. Saved as such, and there we go. So it is not a square, interestingly enough.
If it was working the way that it had to be working, God bless. That's enough. Like if you know what I mean, like if it actually saves the database, if my users can crop a certain part of a photo, make that their profile picture, and it comes up every single time, that's what I care about.
Yeah, and that's going to be the way that it works. Otherwise, the resize value, it does also appear to work. So it really is about how you want to proceed with it. I don't think that you're going to run into an issue if you just do the cropping. That's the way that, I mean, as demonstrated, it saves as that, and then you'll be able to continuously use that particular URL, that particular crop.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm gonna mess around with this. And by the way, I can open it and view it. So I really appreciate that, Tanya.
Yeah, no worries. I think I'm just gonna go back and make all of the sandboxes available, like viewable. And that way, when people are watching, we can put under there, we can say, hey, you can go play around with this yourself. So
the only thing that I will say, just to remind you, is that we are using this JavaScript to bubble plugin, and it does have its own particular action, JavaScript to bubble event. And this is how you're actually going to be able to store this information and save the value that's returned. And then
that's
the
toolbox, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Cool.
Toolbox.
I already have that. Thank you.
Sweet. Yeah. And then from that point, it really is just making sure that when the page is loaded, we're starting the JavaScript, and you'll be able to reference this here. We're taking the suffix that we had created. So I called it URLs. We could call it anything, but you'll see it up here. And past that, I mean, it's really, really simple. You should be able to just follow it and bang, get it working.
Love to see that. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we are going to hop on to Suchitra. She has been waiting patiently.
Hi.
Hi. Did you get that situation fixed with the repeating group selectors or anything?
No, we didn't try that. From last 2 days, we are trying to update few database. So
Okay.
we were getting this issue frequently from last 2 days. We were trying to update around lack of records, like copying one field of data into the another field. So when we try doing using a backend workflow, we were getting this issue.
So what's the workflow look like? What are you trying to accomplish there?
Yeah, once the button is clicked, so I'm calling the API workflow. So this is the API workflow. So I'm just I'm searching for 100 records, first 100 records, and I'm changing the branch values to the old branch field. So then I schedule it again after 5 seconds for the next set of 100 next 100 records. So I was getting error from last 2 days. Now it seems to be working. I mean, it's slowly increasing the amount. Yesterday when I tried, it was stuck to 140 itself. Now when I tried, like from last half an hour, it increased from 140 to this number. So what could be the reason and how to avoid it? Like,
basically, I've ran into this before when I have a big list that I'm deleting. We're basically doing something similar where we're taking a big list, we're just modifying it. Typically, it's capacity in terms of like how much Bubble can handle at that given time, in my experience. So it seems like it is working.
Did you
did
you happen to catch the conversation about this in our Slack, Cameron?
Yeah, I read a little bit. I know that we wanted to
definitely a capacity, like definitely there's definitely a capacity issue, and I'm not sure if it's completely resolved because it looked like it was pretty heavy duty, like in terms of impacting their capacity.
Like how to maintain low capacity? Is there any?
Yeah. Let's go to settings. Oh, maybe sort of one of those things we'll sort of figure out together. So go to settings, and then scroll down, capacity temporary boost. And you have used those boosts. Yeah, that's what we do. But the boosts, it looks like, have already been used.
Yeah, this month we have used.
Ritesh told me that the client doesn't mind if you upgrade the app. My thing is we need to make sure that we're not running like that we essentially calm the capacity down. Can you go to the logs?
Yeah.
And let's just see where we are. Okay, so things have calmed down for the most part, so that's good. The way you keep from hitting your capacity as hard as you were hitting it is you need to space out those workflows. So you need to, instead of running the next workflow at current date and time, you need to do current date and time and then add some time to it, like plus 10 seconds or something. And I think plus 10 or even maybe plus 20 would work to keep your capacity from spiking. And that way it's just running, because what capacity is essentially telling us here is you have an allotted amount of like workflows per second, essentially. It's not an exact measurement, but it's a heuristic for understanding capacity. And so you were just hitting your maximum workflows per second that Bubble was going to allow you to do. Now, I'm not entirely sure. I think if you upgraded to the professional, you'd have a little more capacity allotment in general. But what you definitely can do when you upgrade to professionals, then you can buy capacity in units per month.
Okay.
Which you wouldn't need to keep them always. You would just need to get through this. But I think it's already been so much time. If you just space out that recursive workflow with 20-second intervals, you could probably be done with everything in less than 10 hours.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Otherwise, Suchitra, some better news perhaps for you. If you hadn't figured out, and this is different than the current issue you're facing, but we do have on the sandbox, we have a working select only this on this page thing that you were trying to implement last time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you want to see that real quick. Here, let me go ahead and actually share my screen for you. It's not 100% perfect. I'm going to be completely honest. It is 95% perfect. So there's probably something that could be performed to make it a little bit better. But
can I get this editor page link?
It's in the chat already.
Oh, okay.
So I have a bunch of dummy data here.
Mm-hmm.
As you had seen with the upload care, it's just us basically going through and well, it's all the stuff that we've uploaded, but we have 3 pages. And so I'm doing a couple different things. I'm setting the state of the page and like keeping this number relevant. And then what I'm also doing is I'm saying when this is selected, now we're saying that we're actually adding this page number. So we're comparing states, and I'll go ahead and show you. And I think everything is actually assigned to this repeating group. So we could get rid of count. No, we want to keep count. We want to keep clicked. We don't need the reset, actually. I don't believe. We can call this page index, perhaps. And then, cool, that hasn't updated, but okay. So the page index is going to be a list. The page number, I don't actually think that needs to be a list, not gonna lie. But we're referencing count and page index. That's the one thing that we're doing. So count and page index, where count either increments or decreases when we click on either of these arrows. And then, let me see here.
Nobody.
You've got a little helper trying to help you with this.
What we're doing, so when this page index, so whenever this value, this list contains the page, this icon will be visible. You probably will have to set something up if you're trying to say like select the entire repeating group, but deselect one of these. I didn't focus on any of that. I just focused on whether or not we were keeping this selected. So we'll keep that selected. We'll go to the next page. And then we can go back to this page and see that everything's selected, but we'll skip this page. We'll go to the 3rd page and we'll click that again. So now we have 1 and 3 as the pages in our index that have been currently selected. So if we go to 2, that hasn't been selected. But if you go back to 1, that has been selected. And then we'll able to take that away as well. So now only page 3 is selected, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's the way that you're going to be able to implement this working across the board. Basically, we're just creating a list, and we're saying if this page number is in this list, then we'll go ahead and make sure that this value is active.
Okay, nice. So whatever the records we have selected, we can save it in a custom state. The records.
Yeah, so you should be able to because you're using that one application or that one plugin, and I'm not. I wasn't able to successfully replicate that. But in terms of if you're using that plugin that actually just is able to count everything, then yeah, you shouldn't run into any issue. Like your current setup should be fine. It's just this logic that you'll need to implement.
Okay, nice.
So hopefully that is
Thank
good
you.
for you.
Yeah, hopefully I'll try this one.
Yeah, this was bothering me. I said, how do we fix it? How do we get it? But there you go. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing pretty A-okay. What can I help you with?
Okay, so thanks for doing this. I mean, this will be really helpful. Would you be able to share a read-only access to this one?
Yeah, it's actually currently in the Zoom chat, the read-only for this.
Yeah,
it is
cool.
the page RG, which I could change to make it a little bit better, but currently
okay.
that is it.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, glad I got that fixed for you.
Cameron, did you notice my new naming conventions?
The numbers?
Yeah, how I put the date before everything because I realized there were so many times that I was having I was using the same names for things as we're going through different things, and so I started numbering it so I can find what I'm looking for more easily.
That is smart. Either the date or the office hour episode.
That's true. You know what? I should start doing that. I will change it. I will do that. That will make more sense to people who are looking at it later.
I like it though. That is smart. I know I was going back through January and February trying to find some things, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think and I'm doing it not just in the pages, but the option sets and the data types and everything. So yeah, we'll start doing it by office hour number.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah, I like that. That's very smart. Sweet. But okay, cool. I think we've gone through everybody in the room. We're gonna cycle back, start with John again.
Right. I think this will be a quick one because I think I know the answer is no. So on, how do I show this? So for my header, I have this menu, and there are certain things in the menu that are set to show only when the user is logged in. So like the drop downs, etc. Now, I assume this element is visible, not visible is effectively the equivalent of display none with CSS. And therefore, I think this is why I've got the problem. So if you look at this home page as an example, I am not logged in, yet I'm getting a load of errors because it's saying, oh, well, okay, I can't call the API because in the header, this stuff goes off and gets stuff from an API. So it's saying, well, hang on, you're not logged in, you're not authenticated. So now I'm going to give you a load of errors. So even though you can't see the elements in the menu, they're obviously still there and trying to do stuff. So
interesting.
I think the question is, I presume there's not an alternative to display none that says just don't render it at all. And
so with Bubble, if it doesn't load on the front end, if we're setting conditionals, then on the server side, it's not loading. So to make sure I'm understanding this correctly, did you say that you're applying CSS to this?
No.
No, you're not.
So
okay.
I'm just using this logic that says, okay, so collapse when hidden, blah, 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 blah. This element is basically not visible on page load, and then saying, okay, it becomes visible when the user logs in.
Okay, and is this your only area where we're calling Google in this case, on this page?
No, so it gets called in the header all the time by these things. And so any page that I am not logged in it seems to give me this problem because it seems to be that this is still present even though you can't see it.
So the script that you're putting in the head, is that what I'm understanding? You're putting a script in the head?
So if you look at this as an example, where it is, so this goes off and gets current user subscription. So this then starts to do stuff, which is calling the API. And I don't want it to be doing, well, I don't need it to be doing that when you're not logged in. It makes no sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't understand why this is well, I guess my question, where are the CSS coming in is the, don't show it until X. Is that the equivalent in CSS of display none? Because display none just hides it. It doesn't, it's still technically there. You just can't see it.
Yeah,
so that was where I was,
it is not the equivalent.
okay.
Display none will always have that DOM element on the page.
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, if you say visibility is if it's not visible on page load or anything in bubble, then on the back end, it doesn't load. So there's no front end DOM then.
Right. So there's obviously something else going on then. Okay.
Do me a favor, go back to your page where you're getting this error. Let's go ahead and refresh it. And then instantly we're getting errors. Okay.
Yeah, which are all to do with it's trying to call the API, and it's obviously saying, well, you can't call me because you're not authorized, which is right. But there's nothing else on this page. I mean, this is just a home page with text on it. There's nothing else other than what's in the header.
Do you have
prevent with the conditional where you're making that API call?
Because it looks like event page is loaded. So like when the page is loaded, you must have like a workflow that's running that.
Right.
And then we could do when the page is loaded and then only when the user is logged in.
Okay. So I wonder if that is coming from here.
And that's what
it's got some stuff going on, hasn't it? Okay. So I do only when user is logged in some of these, right? Okay. So, because I don't think it's coming from the home page itself, because I'm pretty sure I've got nothing going on there, because it like I say, it's to all, so it's nothing there. Okay, so it's those things in the header that are causing me. So it's these on load events then. Okay, so I could just set that at this level, can't I?
Only when current user is logged in. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that might be a much quicker fix than I thought then, because I thought I was going to have to create two menus, one that was the logged in menu and one that wasn't. Oh, it's got rid of 2 errors. That's promising. Date range picker header. Right. Okay. I know what that is. Okay, fine. So it's now down to effectively 1 header, because I know that's something else. I know what that is. Right. Okay. I think I can work that out. Cool. Okay.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Adam, any else? Any other question? Or I'm sorry, Zinko. I apologize. And then Adam.
I think Zinko's gone. I think, unless I just can't see him.
No, he's here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have time. We might as well go through this. What you and I, Cameron, went with the search for the first item, and that did not work. But I did get it to work once I've put it in the pop-up. It seemed to work, and I still don't know why. If you want to go through that, I could. I did make it work, but I'm not sure why we couldn't. Do you want to go through that, or does somebody have another question? Maybe if it's more important, then you might as well.
Well, no, we can help you out. Before we even begin, one of the things that we may consider doing is going from first item to last item, and that might fix it for us. But sure, share your screen, and we'll see what we can do for you. Let's get a quick refresher.
Sure. All right. So basically, we weren't able to get this dispatch group into the workflow. However, when I put it into the edits, I was able to, and I've saved the workflows. I could actually show you. So this is the one that we did. And we searched the dispatch record for the first item. In the email, everything works, but the first item operator brings back the November 30th. So it's not the same dispatch record.
Oh yeah, we'd want to do last item then, in which case that's true.
Well, if it's the last item, then it will be the last item, but what the
last item having been added, it would be the most recent.
Yeah, but we need to do this on every one of these dispatches. So depending on whichever one is selected, right? Because there are.
Okay, then
you know,
my solution,
right?
Yeah.
This particular record.
Yep. And the reason or the way that you would solve that is you would basically assign a unique ID code to each record. And you would have that unique ID code basically referenced. So we wouldn't be searching for a dispatch with this truck. We'd be searching for a dispatch with this unique ID record that we're passing in.
Yeah.
And so we do that by using calculate a random string. And so we would have to go to when this dispatch is created, we would need to assign it a record or a unique ID basically.
In every record of the dispatch then.
That's correct. So where do you create dispatches?
Where in the dispatch record?
Yeah, but I'm saying like in the workflow, yeah.
Where do I create them? In the save button.
Okay, let's go there real quick.
All right. Right here.
Okie dokie, cool. So when we create a new dispatch on step 3, we can add a field, and we can call this custom code or something to that effect. Completely arbitrary, however you want to name it. But we're going to basically create a string of an arbitrary length, however many you want, up to unlimited just about. So I'd probably say 5 to 7 with uppercase, lowercase, and numbers. And so now we're always going to have a unique value for each dispatch, and the likelihood of those values ever being the same are very, very, very slim. So that's the way that I would approach it.
And you could not use the unique ID of the dispatch, which already has the dispatch record should have a unique ID.
Well, I suppose you could, but no, I don't think that that's going to be doing the same thing that we want to. So the real goal here is to be able to pass in this dispatch information,
right,
and then also assign the truck to this dispatch. And so the issue now that you're saying, if we go back to where we send that single email, we're passing in currently a dispatch that is the wrong dispatch, right?
Correct. We're sending the first item of we're sending the first record ever created in the dispatch data table.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that.
Right? Is that the notion of the first item operator, right? It'll search through all the records in the dispatch records and grab the first item that has been created, correct?
Well, we want to grab the most relevant record. In fact, the record that we're passing through, isn't that right? So let's go back to your go back to that workflow so I can see what it looks like when we sign or when we send it. Yeah. Okay, so the dispatch, click on that. Let's see, because the way that we're sending this is because we're looking for the truck that exists inside this dispatch. Okay, delete that if you don't mind. And click on it. And we are given just the parent group's truck, isn't that right? This is why we were trying to figure out the
parent
best way to
group's trucks is in many dispatches, right? This same truck is in a lot of dispatches and in a lot of lists of these dispatches.
There is a chance. Let's go to your design. Let's go to your front end there.
Okay.
All right, and let's go ahead and go to that pop-up window that appears. And let's go into your actual design tab, not your front end. I apologize. Go to your design tab so we can maybe make some changes if necessary.
And to the front. Okay, here.
All right, and so we are going to.
So this repeating group is already part of this dispatch, and I'm not sure why we cannot reference this current cell, right?
Well, that's because we're opening up a repeating or opening up a modal window, and we're telling it that when it's opened, we're passing in this information, but we're using the truck information, not the repeating group. So I'm thinking that when we do open up the modal window, we're just sort of experimenting together here.
I'm sorry, the modal window, this one?
Yeah, whenever we're doing to send the truck, like the main basis of this operation, we send data to a modal window, right?
I'm not sure what the modal window is.
Your pop-up, the edit dispatch.
Oh, the pop-up. Oh, all right.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, different verbiage for different things.
Yeah, okay. I'm not okay. Sure.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, cool. And so walk me through here. We are going to add the truck, right? And then update dispatch, and then that's how it works, right?
Yeah. So it works in this modal window, right? We can do it. I was able to do it in this, you see, but not in, so it, as you're saying, this modal window, it does not work here with this. It does not.
Yeah, this is the one I'm looking for. When we click that, show me what opens up.
Well, it opens up a pop-up in this window, not in the pop-up.
Yeah. Open that up so I can see it.
All right.
Yeah. So go to your front end or your design tab and then open up that window. That's the one that I'm interested in.
The workflow.
Well, just show me the actual physical object. When we click that on your design tab, open up that pop-up window.
That's the one.
Okay. Now what we're going to do, and we're experimenting together, click on the information icon on your properties panel because we want to add a custom state. And we are going to add a custom state, and we're going to say, we're going to call this a dispatch. So add a custom state. Or add a new custom state is the text. We're going to say dispatch. And then we are going to set the state type as dispatch. Yep, perfect. You got to click create. Yep. Okay, so now what we're going to do, go to the workflow on the workflow tab, where when we do click that, that pops up.
Oh, that pops up. That's the group.
Okay, we are going to set state. We're going to add an action in between step 1 and step 2. So click on that arrow. Oh yeah, cool. And let's set state. Cool. And then the element that we're going to be setting, it is that pop-up, whichever one that was. I think it was pop-up email truck, right? Yeah.
This one, yeah. Because
cool.
Yeah.
And dispatch is going to equal. Let's see if we can do this. I'm not sure. Dang, this group's not this group's. Well, we want to be able to pass in the customs. I guess there's 2 ways that we can go about it, where when we click that dispatch button, we can set a custom state on the page. to be that dispatch. And then we can now set the state when this pop-up comes up of the dispatch that has been saved in the page, if that makes any sense. It's basically custom states communicating with one another. So that's so it is possible where we can pass the dispatch in. So let's go back.
State. Yeah, okay.
When we click that email button, that's when we gonna, okay. So do me a favor, go back to your front end on your design, not the website, rather your design, I apologize. Go to the email icon.
The group.
Yeah, so when someone clicks that, this should be referencing this repeating group.
Yes.
Okay, let's make a workflow out of this. So when someone clicks on it, oh shoot, did I just
Do have a workflow on that.
We already do. Yeah, that's what we were just changing. We determined that we can't because we're looking at the repeating group of the trucks. So we need to be looking at the thinking, because what we really want to do is somewhere when this happens, when we click on something or we're looking at this particular dispatch, we want to tell the workflow that it is that dispatch, right?
Right.
So the way that I'm thinking about it is if we can somehow get that custom state on the page to save that dispatch information, then when we open it up in this repeating group, we can just say, hey, this repeating group's custom state is going to be the pages dispatch, which then should allow us to pass in the actual dispatch in the API workflow. Tanya, any thoughts about passing in the custom state from the repeating group to a modal so we can pass it ultimately into an API workflow? Because right now we are unable to do that because it's looking at a different parent element than the one that we're actually trying to save.
I'm sorry, I was working on something else.
Oh,
We're
no
trying
worries.
to get information out of a repeating group.
Yeah, so then go back to your design and click on the repeating group where all those emails are. Yep, click on that guy. And then now I think what we're going to try to do is set the custom state on this repeating group because the parent group is the dispatch, right?
Parent group is the dispatch, yes.
Okay, yep. So let's
we're
add
not able to reference this.
Well, not yet.
Which is the current cell of this bigger.
Right, but but the current cell should have access to the repeating group states, and then the group and everything else should have access to the repeating group states. So I think that's a good thought, Cameron.
Let's add the custom state just as we had done. Click that information icon
on the repeating group.
Yep, that's right. And then dispatch is at a new custom state where dispatch equals dispatch.
So this is the dispatch and repeating group. Where did we put the other one? I forgot.
You put it on the button, but that's all right. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You should just be able to type in dispatch. Oh, but there it is right there. Okay, cool. So what we are going to do when we click that email button, on the first step, we are going to set state. And we're going to be setting this state. The element is going to be the repeating group. So right above that, has the element dropdown. You're going to select the repeating group.
Oh my God. Sorry, which one was that? Trucks dispatch.
Right there at the very top, right? Or is that not the right one?
Tracks dispatch. Oh, no, this is the pop-up, sorry.
No, I think, oh, that's, oh, okay. Yeah, you know your app better than me, for sure. You should just be able to type in truck dispatch, right?
No, it is the repeating group starts with her.
But yeah, no, you should just be able to search it by typing it, like the keywords, basically. Yep, there we go.
This
All right, in the custom state, this is the moment of truth here, where the value is going to be the parent groups. Geez Louise, no way.
truck, yeah.
Parent groups truck.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like we're going to have to still do this process, but with a series of nested groups where we're basically,
Yeah. This is an interesting thing, but
trying to
I
think
was-
out loud. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it is doable. It absolutely is. It's going to require us to pass in a bunch of different custom states, to my knowledge, at least. So if we go back to our design tab, I'll spend another minute on this with you. Let's go back to our design tab. Outside of this, so this is the parent group's dispatch. I mean, the repeating group is looking at that.
Right. And it could, I mean, data source is the current sales dispatch. This is exactly what we need, actually. However, we're not able to get to it.
Yeah, so the parent group would need a state of itself's dispatch, where then when we click it, we do a search for that particular repeating groups or that particular cell's custom state. And then when we click the email, we refer to that custom state as the dispatch that we're sending in. So like it really is going to be a bunch of nested, like, so where we're headed is the way that we want to be. It does require a couple more additional steps where we're basically just telling all of these elements to look at its, previous self. Look at this custom state. This custom state is going to be this custom state, so on and so forth. And it's going to propagate up until the point we send it through the API workflow. So this is the route you want to take. I can't promise you it's just going to be a little tedious to get there, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll scrap it because I did find, let me show you actually the way I did it. Actually, it does work. I just thought, and now maybe you can think of why this does not work here. However, so if we go to, if we put this group in a pop-up, then you see, now we do have this. Now we're able to reference, right? And this works. But, which is, again, the same like the pop-up, right? Still contains this repeating group, correct? Which is part of this group. This is what's puzzling me. I did make it work, but it's much simpler than going through all these custom states that we're talking about, right? And I'm just wondering why we're not able to do this here, because it's, to me.
Well, when we open up that pop-up window, no, it makes sense. Like, I understand, but when we open up that pop-up window, we're telling this is the data that we want displayed. So it's only referring to that data. It's not referring to anything else in it, like its parent groups or anything. Okay. And so that's like in the workflow, you know how we say show this data, and that's the reason why. And it is only showing that data, and that's what makes it tricky.
And here it's showing it we have a choice of all of this data, right? Correct.
That's
right. Search for it. Is that right? Even though this repeating group and this truck is part of this group, which in itself is, or maybe the whole page is just is showing us all of the results. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Where the pop-up is basically showing us only only one group result out of all of these. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, so when we're showing this modal, like this modal window shows all of the information from that cell. But when we're clicking we're clicking the email button, and then we in our workflow say only show this information.
Mm-hmm.
It's only showing that cell's information.
Right. As opposed to here, it would be showing all of the information. That's why we don't have. That's why we would have to go through all the states just to come down to this point. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know. I just found that interesting, and I was wondering why we are not able to do this.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I feel like this is the right track though to take with the custom states, the nested custom states referring to one another.
Yeah,
I do think that's going to be probably the best bet for you. Before we go, because we will be switching to after office hours in just a moment, I want you to go back to your workflow for me. And then I want you to go to where we're setting the custom state for that email button's clicked. I think it's the green box there. When we click the email icon.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh, is it the purple box? Okay. We're setting the state, and then the custom state, we're going to do a value. We're going to do a search for. Can we do a search for? No, that's just the data.
Yeah, this is the data. Yeah, I know.
Okay, and then let's click out of the value, delete that, do a search for.
Yeah.
And then click that, and then type in dispatch truck. Or is it repeating group trucks dispatch? So we're able to look at different custom states by just searching it here, right? So if you're able to set the state of that dispatch, so if you're able to say on that dispatches cell, dispatch equals this dispatch, then we'll be able to reference it this way. So then we'll be able to pass in this values, or
yeah,
on step 2, we'll be able to reference then this value and so on and so forth.
And keep repeating that till we get to it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's where my head's at. Yep.
All right.
All right. I wish I could provide you a definitive answer. I wish we could actually see it working at the very moment, but at least give it you the knowledge to move forward. I think that'll help you out.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in and spending some time with us today on this office hours. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend that is upcoming. We're going to move into after office hours, turn off the screen, or turn off the recording, I should say. So if you have more sensitive information, we'll help you out there. You can always join us on pronocoders.com by signing up for the developer membership. And until next time, you all have a great one. Take care.